Most people can this is the stage. And then 30 years that you already talked about that.
Section here and the section here.
Come from up north to downtown. And,
How are you?
but he seemed to be a quality guy.
Oh, since Jean retired.
Because she was there.
We saw him in 2000
And then Chip, some really good days.
Yeah.
That's
Exciting.
well,
I always get some back because I print here and sign here.
you printed for Lowndes County.
They gotta start now.
Yeah. They're already doing the negligence now.
So now, have you turned all your stuff in?
Oh, I didn't watch it. It was like, you'd already predicted that.
Here, if
But you don't have to.
Chris
Thank you,
Smaller,
sir.
if Chris Smaller.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was just, that was wrong that I had. That's right. It's not fun. Yeah, it's been crazy. I think Ray's
Boy, you must just be everywhere. I was reading all those stories in the paper. You got something going on every day, don't you? And that, yeah.
We're trying to hire. I don't know, the young people want to work.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Don't know that, I'm not told that.
Go and try to get something done, and they'll say, well, we're supposed to have 6 people here, but only 2 showed up, so you'll have to wait.
I'm sure.
Tom, what are you doing to him?
Boy, there's a bunch of stuff on here today.
I thought it was just gonna be.
Well, we're going to cancel next week's meeting, so.
I thought we don't. She's gonna be on vacation, let's just spend some money.
Yeah, you'll. I swore last time I went, I'd never go again. Buzz has got his down there.
Charlie, about that tall, that's exactly what I word. I said, get me out of here. I called it the hellhole, I said, I ain't coming.
His baseball team. Go down there by themselves.
Now, that is,
Okay, I'll go.
It was one of the
yes, so that's just something that was presented, that's something that's been approved.
I do like the thought, they sent me that.
If you will, you will slide that off.
How are you?
Some sunglasses.
Another day fired up.
I'm ready.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the March 3rd, 2022 Inter-City Board of Education meeting. I was late, so I was getting things rolling.
Who's
Roll
that
call.
to tell me?
Matthew Coleman,
Here.
Rick Chadwick,
Here.
Lynn McNish,
Here.
Mitch Ledbetter.
Here.
Bobby Johnson is absent.
Everyone, please stand for a moment of silence, and please keep in your thoughts and prayers the citizens in Ukraine right now, what they're going through. Thank you. Ready to pledge allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda minus item 8?
I entertain a motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Chadwick, a second by Mr. Ledbetter. Any further discussions? Roll call.
Matthew Coleman.
Aye.
Rick Chadwick.
Aye.
Glenn McNish.
Aye.
Mitch Ledbetter.
Aye.
All right, item number 6, approval to reject bids on the gym locker room construction project at Lchs. Dr. Parker, you need to say about that?
Yes, Board, you remember we had, 2 bids that came in and, don't feel comfortable with either of those with the proposed project. So I'm recommending that we reject the bids that were received on the initial gym locker room renovation project.
Entertain a motion.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Chadwick, a second by Mr. Ledbetter. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Matthew Coleman.
Aye.
Rick Chadwick.
Aye.
Glenn McNish.
Aye.
Mitch Ledbetter.
Before the next item, I think there's some information that we would like to share with the board regarding a redesign of the project. So Mr. Brian McDonald, our architect, is here, and he would like to share with the board the latest information based on input from the high school administrators, and I know you all had some questions. So now's the time for Mr. McDonald to share with you what the latest design looks like and get answers to any of the questions that you may have before we go further. Right?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Barker. Okay, as most of you know, a little bit of background, but, the gymnasium building was constructed in 1967. There's been a little bit of renovation over the years, but not a whole lot. But after touring, as the board toured, of course, we toured it many times, as well as staff and administration, we need to totally renovate the locker rooms. What we're purposely going to do is not renovate any of the gymnasium itself, the court, the seating, or the lobby. By not doing that, we can avoid some additional costly code upgrades that we would have to do. If we leave those alone and don't really touch them, then that helps us a lot on the budget. Total construction budget is still at $2 million. Okay, that becomes team locker rooms. Boys and girls basketball and girls volleyball. Here's a blow up of the PE side, the east side. To the right is looking out toward Old Highway 95. To the bottom would be the Career Center, and to your left would be the parking lot between this building and the stadium. So we have boys and girls locker rooms. The boys locker room, as you can see, is on the left. We've reduced from the original program the number of lockers from 24 to 16. We've cut the number of shower, toilet, facilities in half, and the administration feels comfortable with those numbers as far as class sizes. And then we've combined we had 2 offices. We've combined it to 1 office for the teachers. The upper left corner of that is storage. That was another thing that they asked for, as much storage as they could get. There's a little corner of that carved out for a mechanical room to hold the water heater, which is fairly large capacity given all the plumbing fixtures. Now, on the right side of the girls' locker room, pretty much mirrors the boys'. Fixtures a little different, of course. Both have an ADA toilet, so they're all accessible. And then to the far right will be the public toilets. We had to play around a little bit with a different type of toilets. We've got gang toilets, and then we have family toilets, unisex toilets, all gender toilet, whatever you want to label them. But essentially a single water closet and sink in each one. 2 of them are ADA accessibles. That helps us a little bit on toilet counts. You can count those for both male and female. So that allows us to do that. So there was a little bit of advantage to doing that. We've got a fairly large vestibule there between those bathrooms. Thinking in terms of halftime for a ball game, you may have 1,000 people there. Some games you'll have less, some more. But halftime, everybody goes to these toilets here. So you need a fairly large space for people to move in and out there. So that's why that vestibule is larger now. It's over there next to the lobby, so it's convenient to all the fans. I think, Dr. Barker, isn't that the home team side there?
Yes.
Okay, it's on the home team side. Okay. The mechanical units are staying the same. For the most part, we have a unit outside here and one on the other side feeds both those spaces.
We feel comfortable that's enough toilets, restroom area?
Yeah, I mean, I questioned it, several times, but we are reducing down, having already reduced it, but based on the number of class size and the number of kids that actually shower after class.
Well, I was thinking more along the lines of when we have a basketball game.
Yeah, that's all driven by code. You take the number of seats you have, it's about 2,400, 2,400. You divide that by 2, that tells you 1,200 male, 1,200 female, and then the plumbing code tells you how many fixtures you have to have for numbers.
And I think that's where you were saying, having the family restrooms can help with that count
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
We have a lot of families that are there. We have mamas who are there with little ones, that I think having a family toilet option for them to go in with their children makes some sense.
Now, under the previous plan, we also had an ADA toilet in the lobby in the corner. We've taken that out. Because of its location, it made it a very expensive renovation to locate it right there. So I said, well, let's just get rid of it and we can put ADA where we have it now. And that'll help us on cost. The red lines on the walls shows you where we have to have rated walls. We have to have 2-hour separation between gymnasium, assembly, and the locker rooms. It's a matter of getting the walls going all the way up to the ceiling and sealing off any penetrations, things like that. Doors have to be rated as well. The toilets could be part of the gymnasium, so that's why the rating comes behind that wall instead of out on the corridor. Okay, the next slide will show us the other side, which is west side. And we've moved all the team locker rooms to that side. Requested the coaches thought it'd be better to get all the team on one side. So the left side, you have the boys' basketball locker room. You have an office. You have a couple of toilets, but they're in the bottom left corner. They're not accessible. We don't need them on that side. Just a couple more family toilets on that side. And a trainer's office. And then in the middle, we have the storage laundry room, which are shared. And then on the right side, we have the girls' basketball locker room. Similar fixtures. We have an office suite for both basketball and volleyball. So that office is a little bit bigger so it can accommodate 2 two people with a toilet. In the upper right corner is the girls' volleyball dressing room. When I eliminated one of the offices and combined it, I was able to get a little bit larger volleyball dressing room. There's, I think 14 lockers in there, 18 lockers in the boys' and the girls' basketball rooms.
Ron, is it
Yes.
correct in that center section that requests the coaches that wall, the laundry room be removed? so
Yeah,
the
yeah,
walls
that
stay
was a-
huge.
that was a
wall
late-
pushed down there.
Late change there. What we're gonna do is we're gonna eliminate this wall right here and make that one big storage laundry room. I'm gonna move these doors down here. There's a straight shot off that hallway. They've got some large pieces of equipment they move in and out, so we may end up making that door bigger to depend on what.
So Brian, where are the girls and boys basketball coaches' offices and the volleyball one?
Boys' office right there
Okay.
and the lot of girls.
Oh, I see the girls. I just missed the girls. Yeah.
Right
I
here, that
see.
also.
Yeah.
It's a little, of course, a little bigger.
Uh-huh.
Like the one at the other end that has two people in it.
Uh-huh.
They're all ADA accessible. We initially didn't think we'd had to make the team rooms accessible. The local code official said he thought we should, thinking in terms of, well, it could be used by another group down the road that needed accessibility. So we incorporated that in there as well. So both sides fully accessible. And then the third part is upstairs. Now I flipped this plan so it fits the screen better. This is the front of the building. This right here is the cover over the lobby that faces Old Highway 95. There's the gymnasium. So what's now two long, narrow toilets, boys and girls, that be completely gutted. And we divided into two classrooms. And we have a little toilet right here and here to serve those classrooms during class time. And then when you have sporting events, just lock that door right there, and these people from the balcony have a bathroom to use. And it's one, people come up the stairs and use that restroom as well. So that gives us two more, which we need in the count.
Is that, Dr. Barker, you had mentioned to me about that being a partition, like a movable wall
Yeah.
kind of thing?
Removable room,
Right,
so that
yeah.
that could be a multi-purpose
I like
room
that.
if we needed
Right.
it.
Yeah,
to
and
be.
we don't have a single class that probably has 18 kids in it, so we can move that and use that as a classroom, which would be great.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that idea. That's good.
That was, I'm glad you mentioned that. We did make that a folding
Yeah.
partition down
That's
the
good.
middle.
I like
so-
that.
What about, elevator or lift?
Well, I specifically asked both the state and the local code officials about that. I said, do we need to make this accessible? And they both said no. And their interpretation was this is a gymnasium, it's not a classroom building. And classrooms are not its primary use. So therefore, you don't need to be accessible. Right next door, you've got, what,
Sure.
30 or 40 classrooms that would be accessible.
Okay.
So we don't need to make them accessible. We just have to have signage, that says classroom not accessible, things like that. Handle that signage so that,
Well, we can just be mindful of that when we're choosing, I mean, we register kids for classes.
so you can make sure that
Yeah.
anyone that needs that accessibility is
Is in the main building.
class is
Yeah,
in the main
sure.
building. So I wanted to make sure that was the case, and I got a ruling from both of them. The city uses 2018 IBC, the state uses 2012 IBC. So when I get reviews from both, sometimes I get a different answer, so just that balance between the two.
And you do have it in writing, right?
I do have it in writing from the local, the one from the
Okay.
state. It was a phone conversation, but I don't go back on it. So, anyway, anyway, that's the way it is. The bid that was just projected up, the low bid was 2 million, right at 2 million, base bid. We rebid it, we expect prices maybe to go up 10% at least, because the market just keeps going up. So therefore, we're already looking at cost reductions, so that when we go out to bid again, we're prepared to handle those increases, either through reduced scope or alternative materials. We still want to make sure we have quality materials, durable materials that you would want in gymnasium. But we're thinking some of the staff areas and other spaces we can drop back a little bit on the durability part and still maintain a good quality. We're looking at other options on materials, some new materials that look promising, so I'm doing some research on that as well. So try as much as possible to get within the $2 million budget. Hopefully
I agree
we'll
with that, but I don't
more.
want something cheap that looks cheap.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
This
Yeah.
building is, the gymnasium's probably the prettiest gymnasium we've got anywhere around.
Yeah,
My fault.
it's great.
If we're gonna do something, let's do it right.
Right.
I mean, let's not come in there and the mess we got into at the high school years ago, so. If we're gonna do it, let's do it right.
Okay. Bidding is a little tough right now, the bid market. You usually start out with several bidders, and then they sort of fall off as we go through the bidding process for various reasons. We started out with 6 on our previous bid, ended up with 2. I just talked to a colleague that had 7 or 8 about a week ago when they had their pre-bid meeting, and they're down to already 2. So I get on the phone and I call and I encourage, and after encouraging and that didn't work, I beg. And I just talk to them and then try to get them interested in this project, knowing the contractors and which ones are good at this kind of work. So hopefully we'll get a good response this time around. One of the major problems is subcontractors. They're extremely busy, and therefore the number that contractors have to draw on to bid sub-bids for this work is limited. Sometimes it gets down just to 1. And when you have 1, that's the price you use.
Better construction.
So, it's tough. It's a tough market. For the foreseeable future, it's going to probably be
It's
that
not
way.
gonna get any better anytime soon.
I don't anticipate it getting better with what's going on. Our economy and on the international front too is not helping, obviously. So, price increases are occurring several times a year. Normally price increases occur in January. Everybody raises their price. The markets can sustain it. They keep them there. If they can't, they drop back. But now it's happening 2, 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 times a year. Price increase. Fuel surcharge. You think about what gas costs when the say the cafeteria project started last fall, and what they are now. Everybody's getting hit with fuel surcharges on every bill they get. So it's tough.
Dr. Barker, do you foresee those 2 classrooms being used routinely on a regular basis?
Yes.
Well, I was just thinking, if you've ever been in the gym when it's 90 degrees outside and it's 115 in the gym, and there's no air conditioning, obviously, those classrooms get
Put AC in
pretty
there,
uncomfortable.
Put
So
AC
is
in
that
there.
something we need to add?
Yeah, that will only cost another
I'm
$100,000.
all for that.
Yeah.
Put AC in there.
Yeah, we will have to add AC to it. Right now, the bathrooms are just ventilated. So we will need to add AC to those. We'll probably put a little package unit on the roof right over
For the classroom.
For the classrooms, probably.
I know, I think it would really get unbearable in there.
That was a good point, I really had
It's on the
thought.
north side, so, you know, in the summer, we're in a better situation
Yeah.
there, obviously, so.
Well, let's just air condition the whole gym.
Let's do it.
We put some great big fans in there.
What was the name of those fans?
Yeah.
What were those fans, what were they called? What was the name of them?
So,
Didn't we get a bid one
What were
time?
the fans called? I can't remember.
Mike, didn't we get a bid one
Uh,
time on how much it would cost to
VA
air
fans.
condition the whole gym? What was it?
$98,000.
How much?
$98,000.
$98,000 to do.
and Mike,
$500,000 now.
help me with this. I was told, because we have looked into this multiple times, and I was told that the design of the gym, the way it's constructed, it was such that it would have to be redesigned in order for there to be air conditioning in that gym.
Remember, Train said they could do it when we did that project, but then, remember, TVA didn't support gymnasiums, they wouldn't give you any.
Now, what about 10 years ago, we replaced all the windows with translucent panels, and they're insulated panels, so that helped. New roof, it's additional insulation, that helped. So it's a better, thermally, envelope is a lot better than it was when it was originally built. I don't think there's any insulation in the walls, it's block and brick.
You mentioned in the summer, will it even be used in the summer though?
Well, I don't mean necessarily in summer. Right now, it's pretty hot today. And it don't take that gym long to warm up when you've got the doors closed. I'm talking about like April, May.
Or even August, August and September.
Yeah, August, September, you got about 4 months.
Well, there was a mechanical upgrade at the same time we did the insulated panels. It improved the ventilation, and then of course you added the fans later to help stir the air a little more.
So an air conditioning unit on the top that would do the classrooms is included.
Yes, just for those two. And of course, the locker rooms are air conditioned too,
Yeah.
there's heat and air. So right now, well, just a couple of spaces have AC now that were added a number of years ago. We can't reuse those.
Boy, when you start talking about millions of dollars in renovations, the 98,000 doesn't sound like much. Air conditioning the gym.
In 1997, it did.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My business partner designed a school in the early 70s for $14 a square foot.
That's about what it is today.
I remember in the late 90s, we were doing schools for under $100 a square foot, and then they got over 200, and we blew right past them into the 300s now. There's university buildings that are $400 or $500 a square foot now. So it's
Is that why a $35 million school is now $75 million?
well, I heard Hamilton County, I think they were building a new jail. They had budgeted $36 million and it came in at $86 million. It's brutal out there. I mean, it's just brutal.
Get back on our gym here. Prisons are, you know,
As
far as the lockers and whatnot, how are we gonna move what we got? We're getting new, how,
Everything's new.
everything's gonna be new.
Everything will be new.
Yeah, and we're doing a little more research on lockers. That was one of the things that came in high on the first bid. I've got conflicting reports about different materials, so I've got to sort that out.
What about the lockers that's got the fancy
The wood ones in the boys' locker room.
logo?
Well, we're
The
gonna
Panther
take
head.
those fronts off and apply them to the new lockers because somebody, Booster or somebody, they went to a lot of trouble to make those.
Yeah,
So we'll try to salvage those.
I mean, those look really nice.
Yeah, but the lockers themselves.
Yeah.
We're looking at, solid plastic, phenolic materials that are very durable, water resistant. Masonry costs are high, so we can reduce the amount of masonry as much as possible. Steel's high. We don't have a whole lot of steel. We'll to do, it's expensive. So, do everything we can, meet that magic 2 million mark.
Again, it's not just say we're doing, if we wanna do it, let's do it right. I mean, if it's 2 point whatever, then, but I don't want a nickel and dime it. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
Mm.
I understand. It's, certain, at some point, you don't go.
I agree, but it's, we want it done right.
Okay. Any other questions? We estimate, I talked to my consultants today, March is a vacation month, you know, people, families, they sometimes take spring break trips, but we think that we can have this back out ready to bid in a month.
And when?
In a month.
Okay.
So, as quickly as possible to get it released sometime in early April, probably a late April bid date.
Thank you, Brian. Oh, anybody have anything else? Thank you. On to item
You
number,
need to Well, number 7.
item number 7. Approval to rebid the gym locker room construction project at LCHS.
Make a motion, we approve.
Have a
And we
motion from
rebid, we're
Mr.
not saying necessarily this plans. I mean, everybody had to look at it, prove it, and are happy with it, or there's tweaks we might wanna make.
There's still some tweaks.
We're just
have to
gonna
talk to-
approve to
be
rebid
correct, not
whatever it
necessarily
is.
what we're looking at now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's pretty close. I mean, it's just a few tweaks, right?
Yeah, Coach Britton and I have had the opportunity to talk to the coaches today about it. They're concerned about some storage issues that I already talked to Brian. He's made some adjustments already on that, did that today after me and a call his day today. So, I mean, I think we're still looking for a little more storage for the teams. Mainly because that, in that center section where that storage is, that would would serve as storage for girls volleyball, girls basketball, boys basketball, and cheerleading.
I agree, that's not near enough.
So, I mean, and again, that's why Coach Brick wanted the coaches to be involved in this process too. So he's chosen to them. But we're talking about this one.
We ended up with about 300 square feet of storage on each side, so.
Yeah, in talking to the coaches, that they've said, you know, like office space, you know, that they're willing to shrink that office space, to get more storage for shooting machines, for their equipment. I mean, you never have enough storage. So there's some other things, you know, a PE office, you know, shrinking down, eliminating a shower, which in turn, I mean, that's where a lot of your money is in showers, kitchens, when you're building. So I think that can save us some money as well. But I think we're on the right track as far as, in my opinion, as far as maximizing the space and trying to eliminate as many kinks as we can before we start moving on with construction.
Yeah, I foresee at least one more meeting with the staff administration to make sure everybody is happy. All.
It takes 2, 3, 4, 5 to do it.
So that's scheduled for Saturday afternoon.
You're mine.
No, wait, I'm sorry, I've got the grandkids this weekend.
So do I have a motion on approval to rebid the gym locker rooms?
Okay, I made a motion.
I'll
Mr.
second.
Got a motion by Mr. Manish, a second by Mr. Ledbetter. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Matthew Coleman.
Aye.
Rick Chadwick.
Aye.
Lynn McNish.
Aye.
Mitch Ledbetter.
Okay, on to item number 9, approval of the LCHS additions and renovations proposal request number 4, change order request number 6 revised.
Again, you have in front of you, we're going to go through 3 of these. Some of them are revisions of requests for change orders, and all of this has to do with the cafeteria and the commons toilet areas. And so the first one there that you're going to be looking at is a change order request revised, and basically, we've looked at this amount before, but there is an additional 10-day time extension that is a part of this. So I ask for approval of the proposal request number 4, change order request number 6 revised.
I have a motion by Mr. Chadwick,
Second.
second by Mr. McNish. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Matthew Coleman.
Aye.
Rick Chadwick.
Aye.
Glenn McNish.
Aye.
Mitch Ledbetter.
Aye.
Item number 10, approval of Lchs additions renovation proposal request number 6, change order request number 10.
This is probably one of my favorite ones because it has to do with interior design. This is an additional $2,000, $2,800, for painting of the drywall soffit in the existing dining room to match the new dining room. So it's a painting upgrade so that everything matches and flows beautifully from the old design to the new design.
That one's cheap. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion. I'm excited here.
I have a motion by Mr. Ledbetter and a second by Mr.
Heartfelt
Chadwick.
too.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Matthew Coleman.
Aye.
Rick Chadwick.
Aye.
Glenn McNish.
Aye.
Mitch Ledbetter.
We're going to have a beautiful cafeteria. It's going to be top notch.
Alright.
Item number 11, approval of the LCHS additions and renovation proposal request number 3, increase in tile costs.
And this is a directly related to what Brian was talking about. From the time that we approved the monies to change to tile to the time that got purchased and implemented, there was a 10% price increase. So this just shows an additional $1,600 for tile costs. And it's simply due to a price increase.
Yeah, that particular change occurred between the end of last year and the beginning of this year, so there was a price increase. I called the supplier, that was one of those begging situations, to see if I could get them to change their minds. A company that's done business with us for decades. Unfortunately, they have also absorbed other cost increases related to project, which they're just eating those costs. So this one, they just feel like they absorb that along with all the others. So,
That's what's causing all of our inflation.
yeah,
Just keep on going.
yeah, at least it was not more than 10%.
Everybody's gotta make a buck.
Anyway, it'll all look very nice when it's finished. Like I said last time, I think it'll be great when it's finished. It's just a little painful getting there. So, I think it's a reasonable
I'll entertain a motion.
request.
I have a motion by Mr. Chadwick,
Second.
second by Mr. Ledbetter. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Matthew Coleman.
Aye.
Rick Chadwick.
Aye.
Glenn McNish.
Aye.
Mitch Ledbetter.
Aye.
Item number 12, doesn't include spending money. Approval to appoint Glenn McNish Senior, Matthew Coleman, and Chip Ward to the District Ethics Committee.
It could cost some money.
I entertain a motion, we approve those fine, outstanding young men.
Have a motion by Mr. Ledbetter,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Chadwick. Any further discussion?
Already heard Knoxville's already meeting on their ethics committee with complaints.
Thanks for floating that out there. Roll call.
Matthew Coleman.
Aye.
Rick Chadwick.
Aye.
Glenn McNish. Mitch Ledbetter.
Yes, I do.
Item number 13, Superintendent request to cancel March 10th, 2022 regular scheduled meeting and reschedule the workshop meeting to Thursday, March 31st, 2022.
Entertain a motion.
Have a motion by Mr. Chadwick,
Second.
second by Mr. McNish. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Matthew Coleman.
Aye.
Rick Chadwick.
Aye.
Glenn McNish.
Aye.
Mitch Ledbetter.
No,
So thank you, thank you, board. We will, and so if you'll make note of those dates so that we can make sure that everybody is, Mr. McNish and Mr. Chadwick and Mr. Coleman and Mr. Ledbetter, you can come on your own. We'll have a single meeting.
I get something accomplished, you'll be on
There you go.
vacation.
So I do wanna, before we leave,
Oh, that's a-
I want to thank you all for this special called meeting. There were, this was important work that we needed to get done. Time is of the essence, and so I really appreciate your efforts to do this. I want to let you know that next week, March the 11th, from 9 to 2, is going to be the Robotics Competition at Lenoir City Intermediate Middle School. And that will be, there will be 4 schools, 4 local middle schools involved in that competition, about 80 students from across the county. And all of this will be at the Intermediate Middle School. This week I was able to participate in the stream night at the middle school. Ms. Williams can tell you there was a wonderful turnout, a lot of parents and students. And so we just look forward to the students competing in the robotics competition. Last year it was a clean sweep. Lenoir City Intermediate Middle School won all the categories.
First, second, and third.
First, second.
So
Was there
we have a standing to repeat this year. So we like to see that happen. So board members, that's open. If you all
9:30.
want to come and watch some of that, it'll be at the middle school.
Where's it gonna be?
There'll be a lot of kids there, a lot of interest, a lot of programming and coding
Can
going
you
on.
send us a reminder?
And that's the 11th.
Yes.
What day is that? The
Friday.
Friday.
Yeah, it is Friday, the 11th. Also, we were just recognized, not only as a Best for All School District last month, but this month we were also recognized as a Read 360 School District. And so that was put out by the Department of Education just this week, so we're proud of that. And then, just remember that the week of March the 14th through the 18th is actually spring break, and our offices will be closed that week. And those are all my comments.
Gentlemen, you have anything else?
That's enough.
It's been enough months.
Do I have a
So
motion?
moved.
A motion by Mr. Ledbetter, second by Mr. Chadwick. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Matthew Coleman.
Aye.
Rick Chadwick.
Aye.
Lynn McNish.
Aye.
Mitch Ledbetter.
Aye.
Thank you.
Hey,